Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Want to know what's happening in your city? Get Notify Me messages from the City of Fitchburg. Visit fitchburgwi.gov on your computer or mobile device and select the big Notify Me button on the left. Enter your email and/or phone number, whichever is best for you to get notifications. Scroll down the list and select all the topics you're interested in to receive email or text messages about. You'll be notified every time one of your topics is updated. Sign up for Notify Me, one more way to keep up with your Fitchburg government.
All right, it is June 5th, and we can call this edition of the Parks Commission to order. It is 6:01. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. We have a resident signed up to speak, Patrick Cheney, 5211 Kittycrest. Go ahead, Patrick.
In item number 2, approval of the May 1st minutes, this is missing a listing for a registration where I provided my comments on edits to the minutes. There were no other comments to edit the minutes, and then the minutes as amended were motioned for approval and approved.
Sorry, which item in the minutes are you referencing, Patrick?
That was
item number 2.
in your minutes that you're approving. It's number 2, minutes of the May 1st meeting.
I see. All right, thank you.
There's a registration slip somewhere.
All right, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from May?
I move to approve.
Motion to approve.
As amended, if you wish.
As amended.
As amended. All right. Sue got the first one. Chris, would you like the second?
Yes.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, public appearances for non-agenda items. I think Aaron and Dan, are you guys for a non-agenda item? All right, so we have Aaron and Dan Shetler here from 5178 Irish Lane. Go ahead, take it away.
Okay. So my husband Dan, Shelley Reynolds, and Deb Hamilton are all here representing the McGaw Pickleball Advisory Committee. We have an idea that we would like to throw out to begin planning for to better utilize McGaw Park moving forward. About 4 years ago, Dan and I started an event called Pickles and Beer. It started on Memorial Day weekend, and it drew about 8 people. The idea was, let's socialize and play, not just play pickleball. Over the past 4 years, it has grown to the largest weekly pickleball event in Dane County. And it's always been held at McGaw Park during the outdoor season. It was built on the concept of not just playing pickleball, but getting to know our community. People bring beverages, snacks, and play a little pickleball. We draw families, and there are some pictures you can kind of see what happens at Pickles and Beer. It's not just about pickleball and playing pickleball. It's about community building. It's about socializing, meeting your neighbors, meeting other players, meeting people from different walks of life, different generations, just bringing them all together and enjoying each other's company in this common space. We believe it presents a very positive image for the park, for McGaw Park, for the Parks Department, and for the city. People come, there are many that are from Fitchburg, but there are also many that come from outside of Fitchburg and see what we've built and enjoy it and see it as a real positive event. This year, several food trucks approached us about providing their services during Pickles and Beer. We approached the pickleball people that attend Pickles and Beer as well as our advisory committee, and we thought that this would be an excellent addition to Pickles and Beer to help build more of a social event there. As we thought more about it, we wondered why McGaw isn't used more. On Friday nights when we're there, we are really the only thing going on in the entire park. And there are beautiful trails that lead into McGaw Park from Greenfield, from Swan Creek, and from Fahey Fields. So we thought if we were to bring all these people together, we thought that a Friday night event could be, our Pickles and Beer could be expanded to walk, run, bike, and play at McGaw Park. Bring people from the different neighborhoods together. Bring a blanket, have some food, have your dinner there, and get to know your neighbors. We thought that we would utilize social media as well as our pickleball community to draw in those neighborhood residents and tell them that the ballparks are there, the soccer fields are there, there's playgrounds there, and just come and play and kick that off as maybe a monthly event for the community. We don't think it would cost the city anything. It would be run as part of Pickles and Beer. Dan and I kind of coordinate what goes on there. We're present every week, but we would make sure that this event was coordinated and run smoothly and that the social media outlets were aware of what was going on in the park. We are hoping that as we can further the conversation about an event like this, we are hoping that the Parks Commission and the Parks Department would embrace and support it. We would love for the Fitchburg Chamber of Commerce to be involved at a degree to allow us to find vendors that are local so that we can continue to push the local feel of Fitchburg at that event. So we're just hoping for you to consider this concept as we move forward with it and to support it moving forward.
Thank you. I would say it sounds like a very fun concept. Does anybody have questions?
Just want to agree. Sounds like fun.
And we do get about 100 people a night on Friday nights in McGaw Park. So it's really using the space, and I think, and people drive there. It would be nice to get people to walk and run and bike there. And they have the bike racks and everything. So I think it'd be a great expansion.
Can we have? Thanks.
Is that, it's Friday night, and we have a beautiful park by my house. I think it's the most beautiful in Fitchburg. Friday night, though, it's me and my dogs there most of the time because we don't have an organized event like this. I think it's that we have far more people, and we would also foster the community is a big thing for me. If you're looking for a vendor on Friday night, though, one of my neighbors, Mr. Vang, has a food cart, and I'm always telling him about venues. It's KC Asian is what his food cart is, and I'm always pointing out events, where things are going on. So I'm pretty sure if you let me know, I give him some notice. He'd probably like to come down.
That'd be great.
That would be wonderful.
Is it, or, I mean, do the food carts have to have special permissions or anything if they want to come out there on a Friday night and just run, a couple of them running their food cart?
So I can give you my card after the meeting if you want to reach out. That would take a permit. It would take approvals for that. But I'll give you my card and we can kind of talk through the process.
How long does the approval process take?
I don't know off the top of my head, to be honest with you. So it could take potentially a couple months. It could be, yeah. I mean, it's the challenge is we're already into summer and it's city property, so it's making sure that we have the right approvals to kind of have that in place if there's going to be a third party on there. But I'll give you my card and we can have that conversation not here at the Park Commission, but actually offline. So.
Okay.
Adam, how do you handle it? We have the concerts on the park and it's full of food carts there.
So some of those are special event permits that go to public safety. So that's why I don't usually get involved with those. That's why I can't speak to the exact details because I haven't done any.
Okay,
but,
I chair public safety, so
But for that you have to meet certain criteria as well to trip that requirement. But we can talk. We can figure it out.
Okay.
It would be great to try to get some, just maybe have one or two this summer. It would be great if we can get the approvals and things. So it's wonderful to hear that there's some support here for the concept at least. So
the other thing I'd add, I don't mean this in a negative way, but if there's going to be amplified music, then you have to get a special permit for that. And I don't know if you would or not. I'd like to have music at events, and it's basically submitting a form. But if you can abstain from that, it makes your life a little simpler too.
Right.
Okay,
Okay. Sweet.
thank you.
So I had a quick comment. This is Chris.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I think, it's activation of parks is absolutely, we all support that. That's why we are on the commission and love parks so much. I think, just being very realistic and coming up with a potential budget, if there would be one, a potential cost, if we were to have a fully activated park on a Friday night with pickles and beer. I think just creating a wish list and then coming to a timeline of what the permit and all that process would look like to really make it the kind of the dream event that you're talking about. I think it's a great idea, but let's just be very realistic and come up with some planning around it and make it really a successful event. I think there's nothing wrong with that, and kind of we can start out small and work our way through to become a bigger event. But I just think just putting some realistic goals around it and planning of what a potential small budget might be to really pull off a great community event like that would be great.
And to be honest, we're not thinking of asking for any money. We're looking at getting this going. Obviously the permits and things, that's going to be something that we, if there's a cost to that. But otherwise, we're looking at trying to do something that's free and good for the city.
Thank you. Adam, did you have something else? Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you for bringing it before us. Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so then we can move on to reviewing and approving the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda or any changes to it?
I'll move approval. I'll
Dave?
second.
Second.
Dave moves to approve, and a second from Sam. All right, action items number 5. Oh, I'm sorry, we forgot to vote. All of those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Agenda passed unanimously. Thank you. Item 5A, Resolution R6625, approval of the new playground and swing set structures at Southdale Park. Do we have a motion to approve R6625?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Chris moves to approve in a second by Sue. Discussion. Adam, do you have an update on this item?
Yeah, I can give a brief overview of this. Can you see my screen? Okay, perfect. So this is the kind of master plan that the Park Commission's been talking about, I think, for quite some time here. The area in question for the new playground that we're looking at is along kind of the western kind of edge of the park here. It'd be in this location here, and also be in this location here on the other side of the trail that kind of cuts through there. There's existing play equipment there today that would be removed, and the new equipment would be installed. As part of this as well, there's 2 additional play areas. This one here on the south side of the path and kind of in this location here, that would be removed. It's in pretty poor shape. North side of the path, just south of the basketball court, there's a kind of a tire swing type piece of equipment. That would remain. It's in pretty good shape, so we'd keep that. So what we're looking at here tonight is kind of this area on that side of the park. The equipment itself, we received 9 proposals for this. We did send letters out to the neighbors as well to kind of get their recommendation on their top 3. Ultimately, this is the one that kind of came back as kind of the recommended one. There'd be the 2 separate areas here. You can kind of see this is on the north side. It's a little bit larger for bigger kids, and then you have the south side as well. So it'd have a combination of swings, slides, climbing structures. This will cost not to exceed $115,000. This does take a 2/3 vote from the Common Council because there's a budget amendment component to it. And we've got one more kind of detail here. This is the kind of I think, once again, kind of looking towards not the mountains in the back, but it'd be looking towards the southeast there. So staff is comfortable with this, and we recommend that the Park Board recommend for approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Dave?
A budget amendment.
It's a budget amendment because we are ripping up and replacing kind of what was there. So we had intended to use park fees for this, but since that we're replacing something that's there and not adding a new amenity, we're pulling those funds from a kind of a different pot of money. And that pot of money was some of the funds we received when we attached or annexed the town of Madison area. Okay. So we're using some of those funds that were earmarked for public purposes.
Okay. Is the bulk of this being paid for by parkland dedication?
The bulk of it, the rest of it, yes. So obviously the rest of the master plan is going to be paid for as part of that.
But not this, Adam?
This is going to be, so it's shifting from two different accounts. It's going to use funds from a previous CIP, from 6259, that's $40,000, and $75,000 would come from the town of Madison transfer from those funds that we received as part of the annexation attachment.
Okay, thank you.
I'm glad to hear that the options were sent out to the residents. Was number 3 like an overwhelming, or was it close? I guess just curious, because I always kind of liked knowing that we were meeting their needs, or at least attempting to.
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
So, this is the last agenda Scott had put together, and he had told me it was the one that was kind of supported by the neighbors, but I don't have those numbers.
Okay, thank you.
I think, and this is maybe a question to the group, it may have been last month or the month before, I believe it was this park where he showed us the survey results of the neighborhood survey, and there was this one that's being proposed was kind of far and above the favor. So there was strong neighborhood desire for this particular design.
Adam, what if this is accepted? What's the time frame for the work?
8 to 10 weeks from when we actually get the contract purchase order in place. Okay. City staff would kind of remove what's out there today. We'd prep the site, and then once it's ready and available, it would go in, but they're 8 to 10 weeks out.
Okay, thank you.
Heidi, I see you had your hand up.
I guess just a comment, 115,000 seems like quite a large number. Is that sort of what we had been banking on all along?
We knew it wasn't going to be inexpensive. I mean, the reality is the prices of this stuff has gone up. What we're seeing now in play equipment for what you pay for and what you get. Yeah, it's a lot of money. I think the challenge overall, and just if we're going to talk big picture on this kind of concept and master plan, money's going to be tight to do all this stuff, to be quite honest with you. Once we actually bid this out and finish designing it even, I think it's going to be tough to implement everything on this. So is the 115 surprising? No, it's unfortunate, I think. But I wish we were getting a little bit more from it. But I think if you kind of look around at our playgrounds, it's just it's not going as far as it used to, just because inflation and everything else.
Is it something we can do in phases, and instead of doing everything all at once, maybe, half of it this year and the other half the next year? Is that a possibility?
So with the play equipment, we've got the overall plan. So our thought here was try to get something going here in 2025. The equipment that's out there, much of it is quite old. The rest of it, that won't happen until 2026. So if we're looking at the spray feature, if we're looking at restrooms and a drinking fountain, we're in the process of going through hiring a third party to kind of design that work for us. So that's not going to happen until 2026. So our thought was if we can get the play equipment in this year, it's showing at least some progress, and then we'd finish the overall project in 2026. So I think we're already kind of phasing it from that standpoint.
So the 115,000 would be spread over potentially 2 years?
No, the overall project, I don't have it exactly in front of me what the budget is, but I think it's over $300,000. So this 115 would apply towards the overall budget. So there's still a pot of money left after this to work on the remaining improvements, if that makes sense.
It does. It's just such a lot of money. I guess that's my only comment. I'm just not sure in this economy that investing that much money into a a playground is really what the taxpayers want, but that's just my opinion.
Sue, you had a question?
Well, one of the things to me, about the cost of it is that this is also a larger playground than we usually are seeing. This is a large amount of pieces relative to ones we've recently approved for neighborhood parks. This is being treated like an area park, so it is more money, but there's more stuff being purchased with the money. And I was glad to hear that the tire swing is being saved. Those seem to be designed to last forever, so I'm glad it's going to still be there. And I realize we are voting on replacing the mass of equipment that is there originally, and we're not doing an entire master plan implementation at once. But I was kicking around ideas about ways of also in the future addressing that east corner. There are separate, it's the far east end or left side of the schematic. There's a large group of people living in this neighborhood that are served, and there's a whole set of apartments on that side, and there are people there who've spent their own money to replace the dilapidated old grill. They've got a swing there that they put up themselves that probably isn't the safest, and I wondered about moving equipment, but a friend of mine reminded me that a lot of equipment is deep into concrete footings, and so there's an expense to that. That said, if there is anything that is, there's a smaller swing set that's being uprooted. There's nothing wrong with it. Those are also designed to last forever. If it can be moved, could it be moved? These are questions I don't expect answers to, but is there anything we can salvage and move? So there's a few pieces of play equipment over on that end, because those families, every time I've popped over there on a weekend, sometimes even weeknights, they're grilling, they've got family, and they'd probably like it. And I appreciate it's a separate conversation, but I want us to remember about it.
Thank you, Sue. Chris, I see you have your hand up as well.
Yeah, thanks. And can you correct me, is this part of the South or the town of Madison annexation originally, before I add my comment? Yes. Just for detail. Yeah. So, I think this is really a great investment in, part of an investment, since this is only a partial investment, of really bringing up this park that will serve a high density area of children that will be attending, be using this park. So I think this is, really bringing up the park to meet the needs of that neighborhood, number one. Number two, I think, the safety issues around the existing playground equipment right now, I'm supportive of this plan moving forward and really addressing the needs of the neighborhood. And I think, again, maintaining the activation of the park and upgrading the equipment for safety issues. So also, I think, investing that time right now and spending those dollars now versus a phased approach, again, incorporating that future inflation, we don't know what that will look like. So I think if we wait, that will also add additional costs to purchasing playground equipment. So I think right now is the time to do it.
Thank you, Chris. Any other questions or comments? All right, we have a motion on the table. So all those in favor of the motion to approve resolution R6625, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, we have no discussion items for this evening. We do have a regular communication item, which is the Parks Project updates. We have the typical spreadsheet in there. Adam, anything in particular you'd like to call our attention to?
Well, I guess first of all, obviously I'm sitting here tonight. So Scott's last day was yesterday. He kind of snuck out the door at noon and did the old Irish goodbye or whatever you call it. But I mean, so he wish Scott the best in his retirement and appreciate his 19 years of service here. So for the time being, I am filling in as kind of the I'm not going to say interim parks director, but I'm helping out to fill the void, that role in there. So as things come up, just feel free to send people to me. If you have any questions, let me know. As part of this, we have not started the recruitment process yet, just for background purposes. We did a study with the city about 2 years ago that made some recommendations on restructuring some changes within the Parks Director role. We're looking at that right now. We've had exactly 2 meetings on this, so we're not really that far along in that. But we're looking at what came out of that study of, do we want to make some changes? Because if we're going to, this is now the time to do that. So we do plan on filling the role in some fashion here in the coming months. It could be the exact same thing. It could be a modified version of it. I'm not going to do this forever, so I can tell you that. But we hope to have this filled within the coming months. But I just wanted to make you aware that we are working on that. We've had some questions from the public of, what are we doing? We're looking at it because, when any vacancy comes open, we usually look at it. This obviously being a higher level, not priority, but also visibility. We want to get it right so we get the right person in there and then get the right structure for the role itself and then also the city as a whole for the next 5 years and 10 years. So that's kind of where it's at. That's why I'm sitting here today. Any questions on that before I go into the parks projects?
Do you have like a projected or a hopeful timeline of
sooner the better?
Yeah.
Quite honestly, we had a meeting today about it, and I think we're trying to target, possibly trying to get, if we're making changes, if we're taking personnel, possibly in July. But that's all very tentative. I mean, in my opinion, the sooner the better. But we're not going to rush into it. We want to make sure we get it right. That's what we want to do. So, but yeah, hopefully by this fall.
Any other questions?
Okay.
All right.
Parks projects. So I mean, there's a list in there. I'm happy to go through it if you want a detailed rundown, or I'm just happy to answer any questions you have. Scott also included an update that I gave to the council, I think a couple weeks ago by email, just outlining where each project was at. But if you have specific projects you want to know about, I can answer them, or I can give you an update on all of them. It's really up to you guys. So I'll stop talking.
Is there any particular project anyone has a question on? Okay, then I don't think we need a play-by-play update.
Works for me.
On any of those. All right, then on to staff reports. We typically don't do a rundown of each report either, just if there are questions or particular things you want to mention with any of them. So I will let you go first if there's anything you want to point out with any of the reports.
Nope. Staff is busy. There's a lot of stuff going on. Forestry is very busy, recreation, summer starting, some programs are starting, but everyone's busy. So, but yeah, things are going well.
About to be even more busy, I'm sure.
For me.
Dave.
Please pass my thanks on to John Ron for getting us some more bark out at our community garden in Jamestown. He's done a great job of supporting us out there. If you can pass that on.
Yes, I will do that. Not a problem.
Any other questions? Sue?
Well, I have just tangentially ties into the staff reports about looking at the forestry report because there it mentions the tree advisory committee meetings. And I watched the last meeting. I either try to go to them or watch them, and just noticed that there's the Kyle Stegert Greenway process seems to be kind of stuck or spinning the wheels, and maybe since that meeting there's been more that's occurred. But if I wondered if the Parks Commission itself could be helpful in any way to do anything, and you're shaking your head like you have things you can tell us about it? Or?
Yeah, I can tell you. Yeah, so we received updated plans this week, so staff is reviewing those right now. I've told Steve and Dawn this too. I think we're pretty close on just from a staff level standpoint of what we would like to see out there and can support. I need to get back to them hopefully tomorrow. Our comments, there's not many, but that project is getting pretty close to, I think, being at a position where staff is comfortable that we can take something forward. And we also need to, for that project, we have to draft an agreement with it as well too. So I think we're getting to the point where we're kind of set on the plans, and that was always the kind of the key of getting a set of plans that, you know, everybody was comfortable with. We still need to go out and get, you know, DNR approval, Dane County approval, and MMSD approval as well, because there's a large sewer interceptor that runs through that property. So it's progressing. I think it's not going as quick as anyone wants it to, but I think it's going in the right direction.
So is that something that Parks Commission sees again when it's?
I would imagine, yeah, I would imagine.
Okay.
Because there's going to be an agreement with it as well too. So I think most likely the agreement and the actual plans would all come
back
together.
around.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I know Tree Advisory also would like to take a look at it again because there's a bunch of trees being removed and they're adding prairie.
Yeah.
So the intent, I think, is to hit both of them again.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, if there's any, I'm not the expert. I know we have at least one sitting here. That's, you know, everybody would like to see it turn out well, and so, okay, good.
Anything else? All right, future agenda items, excuse me. Sounds like that was one that we'll see in the near future. Any other known or suggested agenda items, Sue?
Well, next meeting is July 3rd, and I know I won't be here. And I think in the past we've switched a schedule. It wasn't for this specific meeting because of the July holiday, et cetera, but I don't know how many people are going to be here, or if we need to find an alternate date.
Yeah, being the day before the holiday, I'll be gone as well, so we'll be two of us. So I think we won't even, I'm not sure we'll hit quorum then. So.
Do you want me to send out? I'll send an email out to everybody, just we can figure out a date, whether it's a week, probably a week or two later. That works for everybody.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
Tree Advisory does not meet, so that's the following Thursday, although it's a different time, and so then it depends on staff and what other meetings they have to manage, of course, but.
Yeah, we can look at the 10th. I'll probably I hope to have a couple items to come back here by then. I'm hoping to have the contract for Southdale for the design services, and then also the design services for the Kids Crossing Playground. So I hope to have those, hopefully, in a spot that I can come back or come to Park Board with those, Park Commission. But I'll send an email out to see what the availability is.
Sounds great. Thank you. Sarah?
Just for a future agenda item, I know I'm frustrating that I have this as a topic every year, but can we just have a reminder of dogs and parks being unleashed? Just because there was sincerely just an incident this week that I witnessed where a woman was having her dog off leash and said that it was her understanding per the city that they could be free in water retention ponds, that was something she had talked to about further, that it was okay. So I just, as an agenda item, just have it be a reminder that we can ask or answer questions, but I always feel like it's helpful to educate individuals that there's wildlife in the parks and dogs should be leashed, if that's possible.
Sounds good. Good reminder to have. All right, so then announcements. Next two meetings, July is TBD. August will be the 7th. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, I'm not sure who got the motion first. I think Heidi beat you to it, Sarah. And then Sam with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 This is the record.
We are adjourned at 6:33. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.